I got asked many times which troop type is better to main for free-to-play players. Is it archers or mages? In today's video, I will compare archer troops, mage troops, archer heroes, mage heroes, archer war pets, archer artifacts, and mage war pets and mage artifacts. Hopefully, at the end of the video, it will be easier for everybody to decide which troop type is actually better for a free-to-play players and also for some spenders, because you will have some good comparison on your hand. First of all, of course, we have to compare the differences behind archer troops and mage troops, right? Let's not waste too much time and let's compare, I will say, the advantages and disadvantages of being archer main in terms of troops, and of course same for the mages. For example, archers, it's a well-known fact that we archer mains have highest amount of physical attack in the game. Mainly archers are dealing single target damage. Of course, there are like 2 heroes, maximum 3, which can deal AoE damage, but generally archers are single damage high DPS troop type. Also, what we can say about archers is that in comparisons to mages, we have higher march speed, which means it's easier for archer players to move around the battlefield to choose better position in order for them to feel safe and deal damage towards them, towards infantry mainly. And in general, I will be honest, mainly your target will be infantry players because of the range, right? Archers are having the less range if we are comparing to mages, because archers are having medium range and mages are having a long range, right? And mages having the highest digits of the range if we are comparing to archers. Of course, mitigation is that you are dealing more damage from archers but having less range, which means your main focus will be 75% you will be attacking infantry players no matter what kind of archer player you are. That's the general truth. But at the same time, you will have higher march speed and it will be a little bit easier for you to move around the battlefield, right? Of course, main type of damage from the archer troops is physical damage, and that's why more than 1000 physical attack you are getting from the archer spearmen. Of course, we are talking about tier 5, right? I have to say the best possible archer troops in this game is of course Wilderberg, because of having this spear toss skill, which is the passive skill, talent skill, let's say like that. Increases all damage dealt by 5%, only takes effect when Legion is composed entirely of spearmen. And in general, all damage dealt buffs is included normal attack damage, counter attack damage, skill damage, every possible way you are dealing damage towards your opponents. That's all damage dealt bonuses. So basically, best bonus for offensive gameplay, and that's another big plus, which makes Wilderberg the best possible archer faction in the game, right? So having high physical attack, higher march speed but low range, which requires you to be cautious on the battlefield. Of course, we're gonna go and we're gonna check regarding mages, right? For mages, it's not always about magic attack, right? Of course, magic attack for the troops is important, but mages and mage gameplay is centered around skill damage, which legendary and epic heroes for the mage troop type is dealing, right? You don't really have to look at the magic attack if we are comparing to mages and archers, because whole idea of mages is a skill damage, which is not really seen here. Skill damage will be seen in the heroes tab, especially the first skill for the every single mage hero. That's the indicator how much damage you are actually dealing. In general, mages are AoE damage dealing troop type, which has a high control, right? Lot of debuffs, lot of buffs, but the way mages are dealing damage and getting lot of merits is of course dealing damage to multiple targets, right? Mages are having less amount of march speed if we are comparing to archers, but they have very far attack range, which is the only possible way how you can actually survive as a mage main on the battlefield, right? If we said that archers' main target is infantry players, for mages, of course, infantry is still there, but mages can attack archers, mages can attack opponents' mages simply because of having highest amount of attack range in the game, right? But because we are having highest amount of attack range for mages, march speed is lower than archers, which means that moving around the battlefield is a little bit harder for mage players if we are comparing to archers. Also, the big weakness for the mage mains is that physical defense and also even magic in general defensive stats, HP physical defense is the lowest amount out of every single troop type, which means archers are more tanky, but mages are less tanky. They are like a glass cannon, but all the biggest difference towards archers and mages are that mages are dealing AoE damage, they have highest attack range, and that's how you are actually performing on the battlefield as a mage player. So basically, if you like AoE damage, fighting from the far but being a slow and glass cannon, you are going for mages. If you like to be a little bit more tanky, high single target damage, and a little bit more march speed, you are going for archers. Of course, the comparisons never stop by the troop types. It's really important to compare heroes, right? Because heroes are the creatures which are fighting on the battlefield. We are going to compare every generation heroes from mages to archers, right? First of all, let's go to archers. Generation 1 archer legendary heroes are Nico and Kinara, right? Nico and Kinara are single target damage dealers. If I will say they are absolutely amazing, I will be totally wrong, right? They are average. You won't gonna have a huge amount of merits from the Nico and Kinara in Call of Dragons in open field PvP. You are going to deal single target damage, and plus one good factor about Kinara and Nico is that both of them are the heroes which free-to-play players can actually acquire, and both of them are PvP heroes, which means every single skill which you are going to add towards these heroes will be valuable in open field. We don't have peacekeeping skills, we don't have rally skills, we don't have garrison skills. Basically, the highest value, especially for free-to-play players, in order for them to get value by increasing the skill levels of heroes, is PvP heroes. But from my own experience, this hero pair is not the best hero pair even in G1, which is Season 1. They are not dealing highest amount of damage, they are really average. If you want to deal more damage in open field, you are using Nico as a primary hero with precision talents. If you want to have more control, more debuffs, and more usage of Snowpeak Rock, you are running Kinara as a primary hero. Let's go and let's compare the G1 mage heroes to G1 archer heroes, right? Of course, for a free-to-play players, here is a big disadvantage because Lilia is not free-to-play friendly hero, right? Lilia is amazing when awakened, and as I remember, in order to awaken Lilia, you have to spend $100. So Lilia is the best mage for G1 mages, which is not free-to-play friendly. So best comparisons in terms of G1 heroes from mages, that's of course Wellin, you should put Wellin. And of course, when we're speaking about mages, you have to think about Thea, right? Thea is amazing for Celestials. Wellin is amazing from the ground troops for mages, which are Vestals. For myself, whenever I was in G1 and I was still using mages, I was using Waldir as a primary hero, and I was using Wellin as a secondary because skill talent tree for the Waldir is the best talent tree in order for them to actually deal damage, because as we already mentioned, skill damage is the way how mage players are dealing damage in open field. So even though Nico and Kinara is not the best hero pair in terms of merits, unfortunately for free-to-play players, you only have Welin, which is gettable from the gold keys. Also, you have Thea, which is gettable from the gold keys, and other peers are basically Atheus and Waldir. That's the hero pairs which you can actually run in G1 heroes, right? So in terms of heroes, I have a small advantage towards the archers in G1, simply because of Lilia, which is not free-to-play friendly hero. Of course, if you are spender and you can acquire Lilia, you can run Lilia in Welin, and that's the best mage hero pair for G1, G2 and G3 even. That's how good Lilia is. But since we are speaking about free-to-play heroes, we have to mention only Welin. So in G1, a small, like 10% advantage towards archers. Let's go and let's speak about G2, right? In G2, we have 4 archers, Syndrion and Freygar, right? A totally different type of hero pair, which is dealing damage by normal attacks and crit damage, right? Syndrion is rally hero, which means second skill is useless. Freygar is the hero which every single skill is usable on the battlefield, and also Freygar is the flying hero. If I will say that Syndrion and Freygar is super amazing and that's the best archer hero pair for archers, I will be totally wrong. In G2, they are good, they are not average, but after G2, they are becoming average. So, for archers, I would not really say that this is the best hero pair which you can actually get. They are going to be a same tier as Nico and Kinara and Syndrion and Freygar in the future. So, if you want to have a future-proof hero pair in G2 for archers, yeah, Syndrion and Freygar will be fine in G2, but in G3, G4, G5, they are becoming really average. So, yet again, single target damage, normal attacks, the Nitroke is the warped which you can actually use for this hero pair, and of course, Gold Crest is the artifact, right? Let's go and let's check the magic heroes for G2. That's of course Bertrand and that's of course Tohar. Yet again, unfortunately, we all remember when Bertrand and Tohar came out, everybody was expecting AoE damage dealing mages, but unfortunately they are single target damage dealing hero pairs, right? I won't gonna say that they are super amazing, because even in G2, if you are going to use Welin because of the AoE damage, if you are spender and you are going to use Lilia in G2, you are not making a mistake, right? But at some point you have to start investing in G2 heroes, and that should be Bertrand, right? Bertrand and Tohar with the artifact which is Mirage Orb, Shadow Fadrake is the warped, and that's the single target damage dealing hero pair for the mages. This hero pair won't gonna get you super amazing amount of merits. Also, one big plus for Bertrand is that Bertrand can be actually used with the Thea and Celestials, and that's your flying troops. Simply because of this fact that Bertrand is a flying hero and you can actually pair with Thea and you're gonna have full flying hero pair, I would give mages a small advantage towards archers in G2, right? I know a lot of people will disagree, but if we remember how hard it was for mages to get merits in G2, and because of the flying aspect of G2 mages, that's why 10% advantage towards mages in G2, right? That's my honest opinion. Let's go and let's check G3 archers, which are Falgrim. Alright, it's not Falgrim. G2. G3 archers, which are Magrat and Zaida, right? Magrat and Zaida, when they came out, they was the best merit getter hero pair in the game for a one whole year. And this Magrat and Zaida was and still is the one of the best right now, but at the time in G3, the best archer hero pair for archer mains. If you are archer main, you have to have Magrat 5551 and Zaida awakened, because after G1 and G2, we finally got the hero pair which is printing us merits in open field, in rallies, in behemoth fights, in garrison, in abyss. Every single aspect which you are going to play with Magrat and Zaida, they will be your favorite hero pair for the archer mains. So, finally, archers got what they were wishing for. That's a single target damage dealing hero pair, which is main idea is to heal so much that you're gonna stay alive for a long time in the open field PvP, and the amount of merits which you are going to get with the Magrat and Zaida will be out of this world. Best artifact is Gilded Crossbow, and best warped for the Magrat and Zaida is Shadow Manticore. So this is one of the best archer hero pairs till this day. This is the G3 Generation 3 hero pair, by the way, right? So let's go and let's see what we got for the mages, right? For the mages, we got Thandalin and Thalia, right? Everybody was expecting that after Bertrand and Tohar, we're gonna get AoE damage dealing hero pair for the mages. We actually got it, but it was not really damage dealing hero pair. Thandalin deals damage AoE by the control, which is basically debuffing your opponents, and by ticking time, you are going to deal some damage towards your opponents. Of course, I would say this hero pair is not really dealing a lot of damage. They are not getting huge amount of merits. Of course, during that time it was better than Bertrand and Tohar because of the AoE damage. That's the reason why they were getting more merits, but unfortunately it was not the hero pair which every single mage player were looking for. That's why in G3 big advantage, like 50%, 100% better is archer gameplay because of the Magrat and Zaida. We are comparing Thandalin and Thalia and Magrat and Zaida in terms of merits. It's night and day. Archers are winning by a mile in terms of G3. So finally we got a big advantage towards the archers. Let's go and let's check out G4 archer heroes. That's of course Falgrim and that's of course Sibyl. Actually, Falgrim and Sibyl were at some point so bad that they had to update their skills. And after the update, Sibyl got totally new 3rd and 4th skill, and Falgrim got a different kind of gameplay. Before, they were like same style average as Miko Ginara, Sindrion, Freygar. That was their place in Archer tier list, right? But after the update and because of this getaway plan and because of explosive potential, they are really good. I would not say they are OP, but they are really good. If we are comparing to Nico Ginara, Sindrion, Freygar, they are better than Miles. They are too much better, but of course Magrat and Zaida, Falgrim and Sibyl, you already got two really good hero pairs. Of course, we have to mention that Falgrim and Sibyl is already first hero pair for the archer gameplay, which can deal damage to 2 nearby legions, which was the unique stuff for the archer players. We always believed that archers was basically only for single target damage. So finally, first skill for the archers, first hero, which is dealing AoE damage in the open field gameplay. Let's go and let's check G4 mages, and that's of course Youngming and Gromara, right? Youngming is till this day one of the best mage heroes in the game. This is the mage hero which can deal damage to 2 to 3. Basically, this hero pair can deal damage to multiple targets targets 3 legions and even more. And what's the unique stuff about this Young Ming is that you don't even require to have rage, and in order for mages to deal damage from the first skill they to have to fill up the rage bar and then use the skill, but Young Ming does not even need rage. You have to be in the battlefield and every single second you are going to deal damage towards your opponent and also to multiple targets. So finally, mages got what they were wishing for, right? Youngming and Gromara was the first legendary hero pair after Welin, which was dealing damage to multiple targets, and merits were huge, and till this day merits are huge for them also. So, for the G4, if we are comparing which one is the better one, simply because Youngming is so OP, I would say 20%, 30% advantage towards mages in G4. This is how good this Youngming hero is actually, and also you can pair Youngming with many different heroes in the game. He is working amazingly well with every single one of them, right? So in G4, that goes for mages. Let's go and let's check out G5. G5 for archers, that's a Ruby and that's Kylan, right? Ruby and Kylan is currently the best archer hero pair in the game. As I have already mentioned, archers are single target damage dealing troop type, but Ruby and Kylan is totally different. Ruby can deal damage to 3 nearby legions. Ruby and Kylan can deal damage from normal attacks, from skill. Ruby and Kylan can use artifact twice when everybody is using once. So there is a lot of unique things about Ruby and Kylan in this game. So I believe till this day Ruby and Kylan will get you highest amount of merits. Ruby and Kylan is the best hero pair for the behemoth fights. Ruby and Kylan is the best hero pair for the open field PvP, and same goes for rallies and garrisons. I'm not making a single mistake. This is how good this hero pair is. If you are archer player, there is a huge mandatory aspect to have both of the heroes awakened, because this will be your best investment in the game. Let's go. Let's compare to G5 mages. G5 mages are Vardun and Cantman, right? My thoughts about Vardun and Cantman, they are basically anti-infantry heroes for mage gameplay. Also, not even for mage gameplay. In the game, Vardun and Cantman is the best hero pair who are fighting against infantry because of the amount of defense penetration, 48% plus 8%. Here we are also getting more damage. Vardun can deal damage to multiple targets, but that's not consistent. Basically, Vardun and Cantman super good against infantry, and I would say good against other heroes, even for cavalry, right? This is the hardest decision which I have to make in terms of G5 heroes, which ones are better. For mages, I would say mages might say Vardun and Cantman, but I won't gonna be objective for G5. Since I'm archer player, I'm going for the archers for G5. This is how I'm actually feeling, and this is how I'm going to go. For G5, Ruby and Kylan, right now, Ruby and Kylan is getting the highest amount of merits out of any hero pair in the game, if you understand how to play with them in Call of Dragons, especially in open field. So, for G5s, I'm going for Ruby and Kylan, and advantage would be 20-25% better than Vardun and Cantman. Maybe you will disagree. If you disagree, there is a comment section and feel free to judge me, right? That's regarding generation of heroes, and after watching this video it will be easier for you to actually check out every single hero, which one is better, which one is worse in a details, and let's go towards the artifacts. I won't gonna go in terms of artifacts as a generations. I would say the best artifacts for the mages and best artifacts for the archers. For me, there is only two best artifacts for the archer gameplay, the best ones actually. I'm talking about normal artifacts, not exemplar wish. It's Gilded Crossbow, not even in terms of dealing damage because of this March speed bonus and enemy HP bypass. Enemy HP bypass is a super amazing skill for the archer gameplay, and the March speed bonus 50% whenever you're gonna use this skill. It will make you survive so many hard situations, and of course it will also help you to catch a lot of opponents who are running away. That's the second best artifact for the archers, and of course the Roaring Rager. This is the most unique artifact in the game. Basically, more times you are going to use the skill of the Ruby, you are decreasing the cooldown of this artifact. Basically, you will be able to use the Flaming Fangs twice when every single other artifact will be able to use their skill only once. So for the archer gameplay, these two are mandatory to actually have. So these are the two best ones. Let's go and let's check for the mages, right? For mages, of course, I don't own every single mage artifact in the game, and that's why we're gonna go like this. And for the mages, of course, we have couple, right? We have Dragon's Fate, we have Doom's Bracer, and we have Infernal Flame. I would say third tier will be Infernal Flame because of the Lilia, and that's for the spenders. The second best one is Dragon's Fate, which deals huge amount of AoE damage and especially amazing towards Young Min gameplay, right? And the best artifact for the mages currently in the game is a Doom Bracer, not only because of the high skill damage and you are dealing damage to 5 enemy legions. Most important is the knock which happens whenever you are hitting, right? Inflicting stun for 1 second, that's actually the best possible thing which Doom Bracer could have. Whenever infantry players are rushing towards you, you can use this skill, you can knock them back, and you will be able to survive, not only survive, but deal a lot of damage. So for mages, I would say there is 3 best artifacts in the game. And for the archers, basically there might be only 2, which is Roaring Rager and the Gilded Crossbow. So here, I would say mages are having the best artifacts in the game if we are comparing better artifacts than archers in totality, right? Because other artifacts such as Iron Tusk and Rattle Spear, you have to stand still in order for you to actually use the skills. But for the mages, there is some great artifacts, like for example, Mirage Orb is really good, Breath of Gigant is really good, I already mentioned these 3. So in terms of artifacts, mages are having better artifacts in this game. Let's go and let's check regarding War Pits, right? Because War Pits are like third heroes. Let's go and let's see the best War Pits for archer gameplay, and I would honestly say the best War Pit in the game for archer gameplay right now is Wind Whistle, which is super good, lot of damage. The second best one is Shadow Manticore, which is especially amazing with Magrat and Zaida, deals damage, gets you some heals, great for normal attack damage dealers. There's the second War Pit for the archers, which is really good. I won't gonna say Snowpeak Rock, not gonna say Night Rock. I would say Bard Manticore currently in the game is the third best War Pit in the game. Some might say it's a second best because it has defense break, some rage, some skill damage also, but let's make it like this, right? Wind Whistle, Shadow Manticore and Barbed Manticore is the best War Pits for the archer gameplay. That's my honest review regarding other in totality for the archer War Pits. For mages, I would say Sapphire Faydrake is 1. Second one, Flaming Manticore is the second one, which is really good, and Magifox is just super good. So I believe even for the, and also Sand Lizard, right? Sand Lizard is super good for mages. Sand Lizard can be used even for archers, but I honestly think that Sand Lizard is way better for mage gameplay because they need more survivability. from the warpeds than archers. Archers also need some damage, right? So simply because Sapphire Phage Drake is a G1 warped, and that's still one of the best warpeds. Sand Lizard is also one of the best warpeds, and then of course you have to spend some time in the game, Flaming Manticore Magifix. I would say for warpeds, 10-15% better warpeds for mages than archers, honestly, because of the versatility of the mage warpeds which we have in the game. And I believe I'm giving advantage towards mages, a little advantage, because Sapphire Phage Drake and Sand Lizard is early game warpeds, so you will be able to start making these two warpeds good, and they will be great even in late game. So basically, I covered every single detail in terms of archers versus mages. Decision is yours. Which one you like to play with? That's the biggest question which you have to put towards deciding which is your main troop type. Of course, for free-to-play players, mages are easier and archers are harder, but in a late game, archers are really good. So tell me your opinion regarding this topic. As always, if you like the video, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody an amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.